Bro, I can't think of Tulsa and King without thinking of Tiger King.
Yeah.
When I think of Oklahoma and Tiger, that guy.
Man. He had a run, though.
Genuinely hoping Trump was going to pardon him.
He got close.
Because I think it would be so crazy.
He got
if
close.
Trump pardoned him, that would have been one of the wildest. That would have been one of the wildest fuck yous.
Yeah.
Like of all the shit. Because how crazy is a presidential pardon? How crazy is it that there's a thing that if you become president, you can decide that you're going to take a person who's in jail for the rest of their life and go, nope, not anymore, Frank. Now you're out in the streets. What'd you do, Bobby? You sold cocaine? Well, don't you feel bad? Good. You're free. You could do that if you're president.
How many
which
pardons?
Is crazy.
How many pardons do they get to issue out?
That's a good question. I don't know if there's a quota. I don't know if there's a cap on it.
Because they all do at least one.
Oh,
but
they do a lot. Man.
Yeah, but like, what is the quota? Like, how many do they get to pardon?
I think they do like, what's the most anyone's ever done? I'd like to know that. If there is a cap, I'd like to know if everybody hits the cap. Among the president's power is broad. It is not without accepted limitations. Perhaps the most important that the president can only pardon federal offenses. He cannot interfere with state prosecutions. Oh, okay.
So anything federal. So
anything
he's
federal.
Unlimited in terms of if there's a federal issue, he could issue a pardon.
Is there a limit to presidential pardons? What is the only exception to the president's pardon power? Under the Constitution, the president's clemency power extends to all federal criminal offenses except in cases of impeachment. So in impeachment, okay, but so
if the president's homie did a state crime, he can't do shit for him. But if it's a federal crime, he could totally say, I'm going to give you this get out of jail free card.
That's wild.
That's wild.
That's wild that a one man can have that much power.
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
And like what's different than state and federal is that state you can get released early based off of what you do in that time. If you're an ideal inmate, working and educating yourself and, good behavior, right, as they call it, you might be able to cut some of your time off in state time, but federal time, you do pretty much 95% of it. There is no splicing that time down. So realistically, you want that card. If if you're creating federal crimes out there, you want the president to have that card.
Could you imagine the amount of text message Donald Trump got before he left office?
To those particular
pardon my cousin,
guys?
Pardon my friend's boss, pardon this guy. How many people did? Ooh, look at this.
Oh,
Barack Obama pardoned 1,927 people. He seems like he's got the most of.
He got the most, yeah.
Trump only had 237.
Huh.
So that was close.
It was real
237 loyal people. They were so loyal, these people. So it seems like Obama had the most. But you know what, man? How many people are in jail for the wrong reasons? How many people are in jail for bullshit? How many people are in jail under false crimes they didn't commit? A lot. Turns out a lot.
A lot. They're still figuring out how they let some of these people out that they were supposed to let out for cannabis in some of the states where it's legal. You know, that's why the Last Prisoner Project exists, so that they can go and help those folks in those states, provided that it wasn't. I believe that it wasn't. If it wasn't, let's say a violent crime attached to it, obviously they're trying to get a lot of these people out, because I think if you got obviously a violent crime attached to your cannabis charge, they're not just letting you out. You got to deal with whatever that is. But anything that was just cannabis-related possession and that didn't have any of that, I mean, they're trying to get a lot of these people released, and they still haven't done that.
Could you imagine going to jail, and then there was a story about a guy who got arrested in Phoenix. We talked about this before. He was a young kid, and I want to say he's 20, 21 years old. And he sold weed to this undercover cop a couple times. And then they got him for selling more than an ounce. And because he had a prior with something else, like an assault, but that he did his time. a South Phoenix kid got 16 years in a slammer for 1 ounce of weed. So 16 years they're punishing him for this, and now weed's legal in Phoenix. So this dude is now in a jail for selling something to an undercover cop who kind of like, come on, man.
Yeah.
The undercover cop thing is so fucking. If we knew the cops were just 100% honest all the time, maybe. But you're allowing cops to like professionally lie and go undercover to try to buy weed from a kid.
Yeah.
Like, what are you wasting my tax dollars on, motherfucker?
They got nothing better to do.
Isn't there like someone stealing cars or breaking into houses out there that you can go handle? Why the fuck are you bothering this dude selling little bags of weed for a little extra money?
Yeah.
And to be able to put that guy in a cage for 16 years.
For 16 years.
While there's legal stores there now in the same place.
Yeah.
Insanity.
Yeah. I mean,
it's insanity.
Yeah. And he's one of those cases that they should look at, you know, with the Last Prisoner Project. They should look at a case like that and be like, okay, we're going to rally behind a guy like this. Because, I mean, the
problem is he's not even wrongly accused. The problem is the law as applied. That's fucking horrendous to do that to a 21-year-old kid, to give him 16 years for selling an ounce and a half of weed or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. That's why people gotta make the change. They can't depend on politicians for this. You know what I mean? Like, get the group of people that will go out there and do the work and put this on the state legislation and legalize it or decriminalize it in your state so that shit like that does not happen.
Yeah.
And it's legal in Arizona.
It's legal now where this guy's in jail. So it's so insane.
Yeah.
It's so insane. And, you know, I mean, you could go on and on about it, but like, how many people had their lives ruined for no fucking reason?
Yeah.
No logical reason. It doesn't make any sense at all.
Well, you know, when you think about that, half of the politicians out there and legislators and, you know, some even in the entertainment industry, you know, they're invested in private prisons. They want to keep them prisons full.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that.
So there's that part too. So, you know, a lot of things, a lot of laws to a lot of folks in different places are unfair, especially as it relates to cannabis.
Well, what's really wild is there's this massive history of human usage, right? It goes back thousands and thousands of years. And then in the 1930s, they decide to do this propaganda campaign against weed. And they do Reefer Madness.
Reefer Madness, yeah.
And all these fucking movies that show people smoking pot.